Hi, I'm Lisa Saunders. Welcome to PAC-B TV, Baldwinville, New York's local public access station. And I have a very distinguished author here today who, if you can tell from his background, is going to tell us some amazing facts on American history presidents. Let me just, you introduce yourself and tell us about your book today.
I'm Dr. Lee McDowell, University of Florida, and I'm going to talk about the book. I've done two books on presidents, and this one is Presidents as Military Officers.
All right. Now, what is your background?
I was born and raised in upstate New York, Sodus, New York, near Lake Ontario. Basically, my two major degrees, college degrees, were at the University of Florida, University of Georgia, and Washington State University. And in between degrees, my wife and I, Lorraine, went to the Peace Corps in Bolivia for 2 years. After the Peace Corps, I came back and became a professor at the University of Florida. Research in the nutrition and international programs. At Florida, I've published 1,500 scientific publications and 18 books. And most of them are on nutrition, but the last two are on presidents. I'm a member of two national societies. I'm a fellow of the two societies and received international awards, and the highest award from one of them as the top researcher reward. And so basically, I've given a lot of talks in different countries. In fact, I've given talks in every continent with the exception of Antarctica. I'd like to give a talk in Antarctica too, but I've been told the penguins probably wouldn't appreciate what I was saying. So anyway.
Well, I have to say, I've been reading your books for years. And of course, I love the nutrition ones because you show pictures of, horrible pictures, actually, but still interesting, especially as a kid, your rickets. And I love your stories on scurvy. And I love your passion for history and how nutrition affected history and seafaring battles and all kinds of things. And I've quoted you in other things that I've written. And now you've really been digging deep. Has it been all your life that you've been digging deep into military officers and presidents, or is this recent?
Basically, where I've always been interested in presidents. In high school, I could name all of the presidents in 19 seconds. Then in college, I took college courses in American history, then read books. So I became quite familiar with presidents and what they did.
Well, I'm sort of dying to have you read off the presidents in 19 seconds. Now you got me interested, but I won't put you through that unless you want me to.
No, it takes longer now because there are more presidents.
Okay. All right. Because now you got me intrigued. So which presidents interest you the most, would you have to say, or what were the most frequent pre-presidential careers, do you think?
In other words, if we were to guess, which were the careers prior to the presidency, I think I would have guessed lawyers. I think most of you out there would have guessed lawyers, but we'd all be wrong. It was the military. And of our 45 men who were presidents, 31 were in the military, and 30 of the 31 were officers. And in fact, 12 generals became president, and of the 45 men, 13 actually became heroes due to their military activity. And actually, 7 Union presidents became, or 7 Union officers became presidents.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is stuff I did not know. This is really fascinating. Mm-hmm.
And in World War II, there were 8 officers who became president. And actually, interesting, most of those were from the Navy. And so you think, well, why would they become president? Well, you see, if you're a president, or no, let's just say if you're a leader, a military officer, you are a leader, you're a national leader, and most important, you have gained the idea of command. You use command, so you're able to command. So who better would end up being a president, a leader?
That makes sense, because you have to make a lot of scary decisions, I think. You know? Do you have any favorites, or, you know, people
in other words, let's go over the presidents who became heroes. In other words, well, Washington, just because of his organization and through his skill, we won the independence from Great Britain. Then we had Andrew Jackson, who Indian Wars, he was famous for that, and then most famous for the Battle of New Orleans in the War of 1812. And actually, many think that Jackson probably was a better general than Washington. He knew when to attack. He knew when to retreat. Zachary Taylor, he may have been the best general of all. In other words, a great hero in Indian Wars, War of 1812, and the Mexican War. In fact, he won every battle in the Mexican War. And what's most interesting is his last battle, he was facing Santa Anna. Santa Anna, who had 4 times as many troops as he did, but regardless, Zachary Taylor won the battle and became a great hero. And the interesting thing too is Santa Anna. Do you remember Santa Anna? He was the one that ordered the death to everyone defending the Alamo. And so.
Oh, you sound like you know a lot about all the wars. I really only know a few wars. Do you cover all those major battles or heroic things in your book?
Oh yeah. Certainly did. Yeah, and then after after Zachary Taylor, now we get into the Civil War. Of course, Grant, he knew how to win battles. And
is that who you have? Tell us about the statues that are beside your books right there. Can you tell us who?
Oh, well, it's Robert E. Lee and Grant.
So is that like a favorite period?
Grant knew how to win battles. Rutherford B. Hayes, a great general too, won many battles, and he was wounded 4 times, and 4 horses were shot beneath him as well. And he basically he would lead the charges. So he was in the midst of the battle, like Zachary Taylor. Both of them were in the midst of the battle. And whereas some generals might be behind a tree giving orders, well, not for those two. Okay, and then we get in the Spanish-American War, Teddy Roosevelt. He led the Rough Riders up the San Juan Hill and won a battle, became a hero with that. And then we get, well, let's go World War II. Of course, Eisenhower, through his military genius, and he knew how to get things done. He was a commander of in the Western Theater. And then you have Jack Kennedy. Most people know this story. He was in PT 109, little bitty boat, and the Japanese destroyer split it in 2. And he became a hero, and that he saved his men from annihilation. Then you have George H. Bush. He was in the Navy, but a pilot in the Navy, and he had 58 combat missions, and so did very well. So he ended up getting the Distinguished Flying Cross for bravery, and so those are some of the presidents and how they became heroes.
Well, that's pretty exciting. So it sounds like you know every war, like Vietnam, everything, or
somewhat. And then, but now there are presidents basically who during the wars. For instance, Woodrow Wilson, World War I, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, World War II. Now they basically left the decisions of war up to their generals and admirals. Well, that was quite contrary to James K. Polk in the Mexican War. He was responsible for every detail. And you know the old expression, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. Well, he didn't trust anybody else. So that's why he was there. And then after that, we get into Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was a captain in Blackfeet War. He's going after Indians. Was he searching for Indians? He makes the humorous comment that there were many bloody struggles with mosquitoes. Yeah.
I didn't know Abraham Lincoln was involved in the military, or he had anything.
Oh, yes, he was, but he actually didn't have any contact. You know, he's searching for the Indians, but he never had any contact with them. But he did with mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but then as president, basically he left everything to his generals, but they failed him miserably. And so he studied strategy of war, and he planned battles, and then he got generals that would follow his lead. Grant, Sherman, Sheridan, and then everything worked out well. Then, okay, now let's get to a more modern president, Ronald Reagan. Okay, he was a lieutenant in World War II, but he didn't have any battle experience because his eyesight was poor and they wouldn't let him go further. But he made training films. But as president, he noticed the two powers militarily were the United States and the Soviet Union. And he observed the economy of the Soviet Union was very poor. So what he did, he increased our military greatly. And the Russians, Soviet Union, they couldn't keep up. And so they had to give us concessions. And those concessions eventually led to the breakdown of their empire. And so basically, Prime Minister of Great Britain, Margaret Thatcher, said, Ronald Reagan won the Cold War.
Yeah, I always kind of wondered about this. Because I've read some of the older, I'm actually more interested in like the Civil War and all that. And I've been reading that part. I haven't gotten up to where you said. It just sounds like so many things will fall into place for a reader who wants to know the impact that the president's pre-career had on his career as a president and what happened.
Reagan said, take down this wall, Mr. Gorbachev. And of course, the wall in Germany was taken down. So
that was exciting to see the wall in DC. I don't know if you had a chance because you speak all over the world, honestly, on animal nutrition. But where have you given these talks on the presidents?
Well, I've given them throughout the United States, the presidents and humors on cruises. I've given, and the humor actually is probably the humor of the presidents that makes the speeches that go the best. You know? Right,
because you have a lot of fun with.
You see, the presidents are placed in humorous situations at many times, and so this is always interesting.
And so you gave a talk. You were on Capitol Hill, weren't you, recently? Or you came up and where were you? Where did you give that talk?
Yes, the Naval Academy. I gave a war on this book.
Yeah. Okay. And so do you go through every president or just the ones with military careers?
Well, I'm emphasizing the ones with military careers. Yes. But basically, the book is really designed in the two major parts. Is what these officers did in the war, and the other part is all the presidents. See, the president is the commander in chief, so it's not just wars, but all international activities that they have to be involved with. And so basically, the book would be of interest to anyone who's interested in the United States history. If you follow what the presidents did, you've learned a great deal of history. And basically another major part of the book is the humor and anecdotes. There are actually a total of over 400 examples of jokes and anecdotes. And so anyway, who'll be interested in this book? Well, anyone interested in history, and maybe those in the military even more so. And this book can be gotten from Authors Press, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and this sort of thing. Lisa, don't we have time for a few quick jokes?
Quick.
Okay.
A few quick ones. But yeah, I do want to add, because I have read some of it. It's also of interest to people who just like biographies, who just like human interest stories. Because I've been reading it. I don't have that a particular interest in military history. Not that some for certain wars, like the Civil War, but you have a lot of, like you said, personal anecdotes where you feel like you get into the person's skin a little bit and can see the humor of what they were anyway. Anyone who likes biographies, I think, would really enjoy your book. All right, you have time for like a joke or two.
Oh, okay. Abraham Lincoln. He's at a dance and he sees Mary Todd, and he tells her, I want to dance with you in the worst way. They dance. Afterwards, she's talking to one of her friends. He wanted to dance with me in the worst way, and he certainly did. Calvin Coolidge went to church, and his wife couldn't go. He came back, and his wife asked him, well, did you enjoy yourself? Yeah. What was the sermon about? About sin. Well, what did he say about sin? He's against it. and Calvin Coolidge is the man of few words, and he's sitting at a dinner table, and a lady next to him said, I bet my friends I could get you to say more than 2 words. He turned to her and said, lady, or no, he didn't say lady. He just said, you lose. Only 2 words.
All very good. So where did you get all your jokes on these presidents?
Oh, well, they're jokes all around, and just keep reading, and there's special books that have various jokes.
Well, I was very interested in Lincoln's relationship with his wife. Now, she hated Grant, didn't she? Did she hate him or just thought he was a butcher, I think? Didn't she say that?
Well, she had some different relationships. She lost her sons, and so she was a very difficult person to live with. And it's more, in fact, when Lincoln got shot, Grant was supposed to be there and all that sort of thing, but he canceled because Grant's wife did not like Mary Todd. so she was not at all popular, and she spent a lot of money on her budget, much more.
Yeah, and apparently he didn't know about it, so no, I guess at least he was spared that.
I mean, he should have taken away her credit card, So, well.
Well, we have to finish up, but I'd love to have you come back on other times to talk about particular presidents, because there's quite a few that you brought up expressing things I didn't know that I'd really be interested to hearing. If you ever want to come on and we could just talk about a few here and there.
Well, we could, and actually the next book in the next 2 or 3 months is going to be War and Disease.
Oh, fun.
Most people don't know that more people died from disease in our early wars, and in fact, until World War II, than they did from bullets or bombs or anything like that.
That's amazing. And since you know nutrition and disease, and you gave me great insights into why, the Pilgrims died, half of them, I think you're going to have quite a unique perspective on that. So I look forward. Is that something that's halfway done or in the works?
No, I finished it. It's my typist is putting it together now.
Okay. And so people can find this book on Amazon, you said, or right?
Amazon, Barnes and Nobles.
Okay.
And Authors Press. Any.
And I'm sure people can go into a bookstore and ask for it to be ordered as long as they know your name is Dr. Lee McDowell and Presidents as Military Officers. And it's a fabulous book. I have my copy here. So thank you.
Well, see, the first book that I had is The President's Humor, Events, and Morality. And I'm ranking the presidents. And I think it's of interest that I've ranked Washington #1, Lincoln #2, but Teddy Roosevelt made us a world power. He was in there at the beginning of the 1900s. So
really, okay,
he was a great president.
Yeah, so that's the other book on presidents that people can look at.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I hope to have you on again someday.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Lisa.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.